It'll be real eerie. So say they would have, we had.
Oh man, the staff chairs. First time he's gonna be in this mess. Korea had like 500 cases a day by like week 3.
No, that just
We
means.
had like 5,000 cases per city per day.
Twice the cost of the pie by the
It wouldn't have been considered.
Welcome to this ceremony honoring Captain Adam Ray on the occasion of his promotion to the rank of Major. Presiding over today's ceremony, Commander of the 333rd Training Squadron, Lieutenant Colonel Jeremy Sparks. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the arrival of the official party and remain standing for the playing of our national anthem. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Please join me in a warm welcome to our special guests in attendance today. Captain Ray's wife, Crystal Ray. And also Lieutenant Colonel retired, Greg and Sherry Douglas. We also welcome our distinguished visitors, the commander of the 333rd Training Squadron, Lieutenant Colonel Jeremy Sparks. Finally, we welcome all the members of the 333rd Squadron, fellow instructors, and friends of Captain Ray. Ladies and gentlemen, Lieutenant Colonel Jeremy Sparks.
We're getting right to business.
Yes.
All right. You care if I take over the podium? Okay. So first, I want to say thanks for letting me do this. Can they see me on camera from here? All right, all good. All right, so this is a tremendous opportunity. So as I was looking over Adam's records, one of the cool things that I noticed was that he and I just missed each other, like ships passing in the night when he first came here as a student. And I was an instructor, basically coming in to do exactly what I did a few years ago. And you're going to find out soon in the capacity as an instructor, this is going to happen to you. In a couple of years, they're going to be asking you to pin them on or to promote them. And it is really, really special. And so I appreciate you asking me. And so Ray is new to the unit, but he's not new to the Air Force. He's certainly not new to the operational community. And so for those of you who haven't had an opportunity to get to know him yet, I'm going to let you get to know him a little bit by reading some of his accomplishments. All right, so as I mentioned, he's not new to the ops culture or the ops world. If you take a look at his operational pedigree, it starts all the way back in his prior enlisted time. So came in, spent about 8 years or so as an aircraft maintainer, and he was a did I hear a who over here? Yeah. So yeah, exactly. Show us your hand, sis. So we have another aircraft maintainer in here. We tease him about his old ass hands. All right. So, but he made staff sergeant, and then he was chasing tech sergeant, and so a full 8 years there, and absolutely killed it. And what's interesting there is his experiences. So over at Holloman, and then it was awesome to see the platforms that he worked on. The F-16, the F-22, but especially the F-117 Alpha, which is so cool because so few people can say that they've been able to work. It was time that he spent embedded with work unit, the 9th, the fighter unit, which is so cool, the fighter squadron. And so I looked them up. I didn't know much about them, so I looked them up. Deep history going all the way back to they stood up and have been an operational squadron since before the Air Force was even the Air Force, and since 1941. I love reading about that. I almost got distracted and while I was reading. So shoot, I better get back over here and read some records. All right, so what's so cool about that is you have all those years of rigor, ops rigor, discipline that you get to now use to inform how you approach operational rigor in the cyber community, but also here in our own schoolhouse. And so it was really cool about when you made that transition from enlisted to officer. You wasted no time into make a difference. So I was reading up about some of his early accomplishments, and very first one. So this is from you as Second Lieutenant Ray to the unit, and in his very first year, he led a team to be the USAFE IG year, and then in every OPR essentially since then, all the way up till today, it's number one, number 2 of a million, number 1, right? So, and then inside there was a number of annual awards as a CGO. It was interesting is you're doing a lot of this as like a second lieutenant, nailing those CGO awards. So that speaks it speaks to many of those accomplishments. But it's, to include, he even got a deployment in there to go fight ISIS. So he was slinging bits and hate against America's enemies in the Middle East, and so he went in, got a couple of punches in against them during deployment. Then he came back. He's been doing some incredible things. His ops time inside cyber as an officer included time overseas, Mildenhall. Then he did some time at the 26th NOS. He went on the ACC staff and we fought for priorities to include, in some cases, even resourcing our own mission here. But when you look at those accomplishments, it's not about what you did as much as how you do them. And so what's really interesting about Captain Ray here is the how. So I'm going to read word for word some of the things that they said, not on what, but on how. It says here, quote, this is from his very first officer report, quote, he's proactive, enthusiastic leader. He turns complex problems into results. He's a rising star, unlimited leadership ability. This is all from his first one, to include this statement. The best second lieutenant I've ever worked with. All right, that came from his squadron commander. Next, he's a proven leader under pressure. There were several of those over and over again. They would say that. He's an exceptional officer. I like this one. I've never seen this on a report before. Who runs laps around his peers. All right, that's awesome. So, pedal fast, boys. Pedal fast. And this was probably maybe my favorite. Simply, he makes it happen. He's focused on mission success, and he makes it happen. It's like success, and so it's not just do it. And so that paints a little bit of who Captain Ray is. And so when we take a look at, that's a little bit about his operational pedigree. When we take a look at what does it mean now as you transition, from that caterpillar to the butterfly, and you go from CGO to FGO. So I like, I'm a fan. I'm in the military, and you can take the military, you can take the military, but not the military out of the boy. All right, so I love me some acronyms. So we're starting with something right now. All right, so FGO. We're going to break it down. Field Grade Officer. Into its basic principles and basic parts, the F stands for field. It's interesting because I was taking a look at that, and it literally just means leadership in the field. And so in some cases, they were just called field officers. Carl von Clausewitz talks about this when he talks about the importance of the experiences that shape a member of the profession of arms. He says it has to start in the field. And so, as a FGO, of which you will now join the ranks as an FGO, it's so important to have that experience. There's no shortcuts. There's no secret pill we can give you that suddenly will expedite decades of experience. And so your field time is right there on your chest. You can't fake it. We don't, there's no shortcuts. You earned them. And to get to that castle, you had to swim the moat. It's that simple. And so you come into the rank, not just to having done that, but you did it well, with a period of sustained superior performance in the field. So the next part of that is the grade. When we talk about field grade officers, the grade in which you will now serve gives you an opportunity to transform and inspire at scale. So it's you can do that. You can transform and inspire as a CGO, and many of our instructors do that now, and they do it very well. But one of the advantages you'll have as a major, as the Air Force believes you can now do that at scale. And so either you will get it right at scale, or you will get it wrong. And so for those who are not familiar with the term Charlie Foxtrot or a cluster screw up, the cluster in cluster screw up comes from oak leaf cluster. So when you, one of these, oak, whether as a major or as a lieutenant colonel, and either you will do it right at scale or you do it wrong at scale. And the Air Force believes you're going to do it right at scale. The President of the United States believes you're going to do it right at scale. That's why they recommend you to the next rank. The Air Force also considers, so when we talk about CGOs, FGOs, and you go to general officers, field grade officers fall into, so you've got junior officers, CGOs. FGOs are considered senior officers. And that is the period in which, when you make that transition, the military considers you fully vested, almost like if it were a company, fully vested, you tenured almost, in a profession of arms. You've arrived there, and you're arriving there today. And so you have an opportunity now, as I mentioned, to do good at scale. And we believe that you will do that. We're so grateful that you chose to invest your time and talents, considerable time and talents, here at our schoolhouse. For those that don't know, as I was looking through his records, he must have been itching to get here for a while, because he's got OPRs that go all the way back to like 2014, 2015. His push line says, "This is the best. This is the best we have." And he's got to be at the schoolhouse. It's pretty cool. And it's pretty awesome. So thank you for choosing to invest your time and talents here, because I know that you were probably drafting those for signature. And then the last part of that for field grade officer, the O officer, you already know what it's about. You've been doing it now for a decade. You have great examples all around you. And have no fear. There's the team here. They will. They like to lead upwards. They lead upwards all the time with me. They'll tell you where you mess up. It's great. They're not correcting you. They're coaching you to perfection, as they tell me. But you can count on having a team to lead and to help lead you. And one of the interesting things about becoming a field grade officer is it's not enough to just have the rank. You must now be able to lead by influence. You're going to have to want to follow you. And there's so many of the things that you're going to be asked to do, whether our Air Force will ask you to do, or they're going to be gnarly problems. You already know how to solve them. It says so in your records. But this time, it won't just be solving them because you're the technical expert. It won't be just solving them because you have the rank to do so. It's going to be because they want to follow you. You have to be able to influence as a leader. And you'll know you're doing it right. You tell them to go to hell, and they say, "What time do we start?" All right, so those leaders who can, and if you think to the leaders that you admire, maybe as Colonel Douglas here, the leaders that you admire are probably those that inspired you and could influence the men and women that they serve with to to defend this nation. And so when I think about influential leaders at the FGO rank, I think of Jimmy Doolittle. You could pick about any one, but today I was thinking about Jimmy. So here he is sailing towards Japan on a secret mission, and he has to somehow convince these men and women that are with him that have no idea what they're doing. They have no idea why they left for it. They just knew that they were on some mission. That they need to climb into their airplanes, and that they have to fly to almost certain death. They knew him, they loved him, and he led by influence. And every last one of them, he gave them the option to bow out once he told them what was going on. But every last one of them climbed into those airplanes, knowing that they would almost all crash into the sea. You have an opportunity to lead, and to lead by influence, and to lead at scale, and here's a great spot to do it. And so we're grateful to have you here as our as a new major. And I'll leave you with a quote. It's Dolly Parton. It says, find out who you are and then do it on purpose. Figure out who you are. You're a dad, you're a husband, you're a friend. You're also a major, soon to be a major in our United States Air Force. So as you consider how you're going to do it on purpose, you've got a tremendous support system and those that love you and care for you and got you here, and certainly will help coach you to perfection along the way. So welcome to the team, welcome to our squadron. Now, about to welcome you officially into the ranks of the field grade officer. And so with that, let's make this official.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the reading of the promotion order. Attention to orders. The President of the United States, acting upon the recommendation of the Secretary of the Air Force, has placed special trust and confidence in the patriotism, integrity, and abilities of Captain Adam Ray. In view of these special qualities and his demonstrated potential to serve in the higher grade, Captain Ray is promoted to the grade of Major, United States Air Force, effective the 29th day of July 20th, or July 2021, by order of the Secretary of the Air Force.
I think we clap here.
I want to clap. All right. Are we going to read this off, or you want me to do it now?
Yes, you can, and then you can do a little handshake.
Okay. All right. So this is a certificate of promotion, having demonstrated patriotism, valor, fidelity, and ability. Adam Ray is hereby promoted to the grade of Major in the United States Air Force. This 29th day of July 2021. Your promotion carries with it the obligation that you exercise additional authority and willingly accept greater responsibility as Major. Your every action must be governed by a strong sense of personal, moral responsibility, leadership by example, excellence, commitment to quality, Air Force standards. You will be given responsibilities to lead and develop airmen as an officer in the United States Air Force, which is the greatest responsibility as well as the greatest privilege.
Hoorah.
Yeah, hoorah. That's right.
Good to go.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Captain Ray would like to ask Lieutenant Colonel Retired Greg Douglas and his wife Crystal to come forward to help pin on his new rank.
That's after a few beers. They say you're doing great. Everyone's fine.
project.
He'll stay.
Do you mind getting a picture of everybody else?
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand as Lieutenant Colonel Sparks administers the oath of office.
All right, so I think they warned you. We expect more of our FGOs. All right, raise your right hand, repeat after me. I, Adam Samuel Ray, having been appointed a major in the United States Air Force, do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and that I bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that I take this obligation freely, without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office upon which I am about to enter, so help me God.
I, Adam Samuel A., do solemnly swear to defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same. I take this obligation freely and without reserve or
Without purpose of evasion.
without purpose of evasion. And I will faithfully
Discharge.
discharge the duties of the office for which I have appointed. So help me God.
You got there. You got there.
Thank
That's
you,
all.
sir.
That's all the important words.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks for being my weakness.
That's all right. There's plenty more where that came from. You got there. That's all the important parts.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to introduce to you Major Adam Ray. Major Ray, the floor is yours for any closing remarks.
All right. Thank you. Everyone, please be seated. All right. So there is a scroll that goes to the floor of thank you. So I'll keep them pretty abridged. First, from Sparks, thank you so much. I've thanked you, but I want to also openly thank you again. It is awesome to have a strong leader in the community be part of this event and be an influential part on how the next years of my time are going to be here. But already touched on the motivation, the positivity, the morale in this unit. It's fantastic. So very happy to land here. Yes, I have been trying to get here for a while. And also to our leadership team. So Shirt's here. Thank you, Shirt. I appreciate you coming. And I know Chief could make it. That'd be I know he couldn't make it, but I'm happy he's here. And also for my good friend and fellow coworker, the 26 NOS, Major Hunter. It's fabulous to be able to be reunited with her as well. To my dearest wife, Crystal. She is my lighthouse in every storm that we've gone through, both professional and personal. And so I think it's fitting to be back here in Biloxi, where opposed to her in front of the Biloxi Lighthouse. So it's a great way to be full circle. So not here with us, but hopefully watching at home is my son Xavier, an extremely bright, extremely talented young man who's going to do great things. And I'm so excited to see you grow and become the person that you're going to become. And you're always in our hearts, even when you're not here personally. I couldn't have also gone through some of the trials without your support and your love. So thanks, Xavier. To Greg and Sherry, our family that somehow we were all separated at birth, and then we found each other again when we PCS'd to England. So yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for coming out here. You both have always been a positive influence to our whole family, fur babies included. And we're so happy to have you here and have a good time the rest of this week. Again, there's a whole list of people that I want to thank, because everything that Colonel Sparks was saying, reading off OPRs, they're just reflections of great people, great teams that I had the fortunate opportunity to be part of. And there has been countless number of times where the job has been thankless, but to be able to look into the eyes of the troops and the eyes of those that see the benefits of the jobs that we do, yeah, there's no replacement for that. And I feel like that's something that here in the schoolhouse is another thing. You're going to have a lot of students that'll leave and they'll have different influences, but when they look back and they come back and they have an opportunity to come back here and say, oh, you know, I really did learn something fabulous here. And it was more than just the ones and zeros. It was how to be a strong leader, a strong officer. And then I'd be amiss if I wouldn't thank my parents, who are also going to see this virtually. My dad, Sam, and my mom, Peggy. Thank you so much. You guys have done so much for me, and you don't even know what you've done for me. So I really appreciate it, and I'm happy you can be here virtually. Now it's time to go into a little bit of story time, and then I'll wrap this up so we can get some cake. We can start to get hungry. It's about lunchtime.
Promoting hungry business.
It is. So Adam Ray was a skinny kid from Tempe, Arizona, who worked at a garden shop at a Target, and was excited to join the Air Force when he finished up the summer in the job in 2001. And he had this great plan of what he was going to do. He was going to join the Air Force, and he was going to go do some plane stuff, and he was going to fly all these planes, and he wouldn't have responsibility to other people, because he was just going to be a pilot, and he was just going to be the cool guy, the maverick, the one with the glasses. That's the plan that young Adam had. And then he went to basic and met some people with some funny hats, and that changed pretty quickly. But then on the third week, 9/11 happened, and us being kind of enclosed inside the training environment, we really didn't know what that meant. We were young airman basics, and we didn't know what that meant. But we knew that something had changed, because when we had leave and pass to go out to San Antonio, there were flags everywhere. United we stand. Thank our troops. There were flags like pancakes. It's just the world changed, and there was an instant feeling of patriotism, and there was an instant feeling of trust in our military, and that has been nearly 20 years now, and that still exists. And there's a responsibility for us as leaders in our community to continue to hold that torch and have it burn strong, to be examples not only to our peers, our students, but also within our community as well. And the country has gone through very dividing points within its history very recently, and I always fall back to our ability to focus in on our core values, be shining examples for each other, and that is something that is just as important many times as getting the knowledge and information to our folks as well. And so I talked to Chief, and I told Chief, I said, I'm going to make a promise when promotion comes. My promise to our team here is that all that knowledge and all of those experiences that Colonel Sparks talked about, those aren't mine, they are yours. Please come to me, and we'll share those experiences together, so that you will be a better leader, you'll be a better leader for your people, and that we can continue to carry the torch and the flame of who we are and our core values in American Airmen. So thank you so much for your time coming here, and Thank you, everyone virtually. I think that's probably a good point to leave it at. Muchas gracias, and thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes today's ceremony. Please stand for the singing of the Air Force song and the departure of our official party. Immediately following the ceremony, I invite you to join them in the back of the room for refreshments.
Blue yonder, climbing high into the sun.
That's a debrief there.
We go into the wild blue yonder, climbing high into the sun. Here comes Liberty, our thunder, and boys, give her the gun. Hey! Down we dive, starting our flames from under. Off with one hell of a roll. We live in fame, we go down in flame. Hey! Nothing can stop the U.S. Air Force.
All right, look at that. Way to go. They finally got to see. Yeah. All right, this is the official departure of the party. Guys, get some ice cream and cake.
It was too loud, too long.
Hey, Jerry, thanks for